Hello there everyone and welcome back. I gotta say, it's an incredibly busy month for me here with Crusader Kings 3 trying to get into that, Iron Harvest which I have been doing a handful of multiplayer streams of, and now we have the release of Necromunda, a game where I have been completely oblivious to until this actual game for PC has been announced. It's a game that's been made by Rogue Factor, which are the same guys who made Mordheim, City of the Damned, and if you had already played that game, then you probably already have a good grasp or a good sense of what to expect here. For I am going to dive in a little bit into the campaign story just to show what this game's all about, and hopefully down the road in a later video I will play around with like the operations and maybe some multiplayer if it seems promising. But from what I could tell, I think the main appeal of this game, outside the, I don't know how many missions are in the story campaign, but when I went to go make my own gang there, my own custom team, it strictly said to play the story, the campaign itself, not the tutorial or anything, to learn the mechanics and the concepts of this game. So I believe the campaign itself, it's just basically a one gigantic tutorial for you with a little bit of lore and story to kind of enjoy the trip. But the main meat of the game, I'm hopeful, might be in developing your own gang, building them up to how you wish, and of course specializing them as a result. And of course there's also persistent injuries, I believe, in this game, or at least they can lose limbs, in which case you'll have to spend resources to kind of give them prosthetics or at least mechanical arms or components to kind of replace what they lose. So let's get into the meat of this, at least to have a bit of a better grasp of what to have here. Although I'm going to skip the introduction cinematic since we don't need to see that, and I already played the first two missions, but this third mission might be a good introduction here. Since from what I understand, we're going to be waiting for a meeting, and we're going to be setting up a trap for some adversaries.
Tessera? No sign of the black ash on her tail. We lost him.
For now, at least. There's something else? Spit it out.
Some Goliaths heading this way. Rowdy boys, I think. But if we stay quiet, they'll miss us.
We need him gone. We're meeting our guide here. We'll set an ambush. Take him down clean and quick. Grab some cover and take aim. And Kira? We can't let any of them get away.
So this is the third mission there, and it's slowly progressively introducing more of the mechanics of the game. Like, the reason I feel like this might be a good demonstration is I'm going to have a few turns to kind of set up an ambush, and it's teaching me about traps and just using my skills in barricades so much, but this is basically how the combat itself is going to play out. If there's like enemies on the field, we're going to be doing control of one of our units at a time for both sides, based on their initiative down at the bottom there. So whoever has the higher initiative will get the first action. But since we have no one here, let's just pick our Saboteur, I believe, which I think is this class, since I believe there's 5 classes for the game there with various differences based on whatever gang you choose, or house I suppose, since they have their own little perks and bonuses, which I'm trying to remember. How did I get access to the bonuses? I can't remember how I showed tab or that. I know I got it before, but I wonder what this is. Either way, I'll figure that out later. We have 4 turns.
Let's lay out some traps. The blockheads won't see it coming.
And when we open up the tactile overview, we have access to kind of everything to look at here. And these are all 5 of my characters right now in the highlight yellow. And I believe these are reinforcement points. A little bit to take in there, especially with the 3 dimensions, but I believe you can mouse scroll to kind of remove certain bits of terrain to make it easier to at least get a lay of the land. So these are all the reinforcement points after 4 turns where I believe they're all going to be jumping in. Is there any more? It doesn't look like it. There's a rendezvous point. There's our character we just unlocked. And control. What are these? Okay, these are mission objectives is what I believe this is then. So they ask for me to deploy traps, so here's how the movement, the basis of the turn is going to play out. On the bottom left we have action points in the AP and movement points in the just below that. So as we move our character that we have selected, it is slowly going to burn or at least expend our movement points, but thankfully you can take all the time you want to kind of position your move and not feel like you're making a mistake, for as I'm running back and forth, it's technically refunding the movement points I have to spend. But of course, as soon as you take any action or anything kind of permanent, like laying the trap that I think they're recommending for here, then I'm going to have all the current movement points expended, so that's when you have to really commit. So this is a good opportunity to look around, get a lay of the land, and even more, we got a lot of movement options available to us, although this isn't a good spot. With that said, I was hoping to maybe go over here. Yeah, I could jump down, and I believe, yeah, that just shows where I want to pick my landing. And this is a nice little indication on how you can drastically traverse the map, because jumping down there only takes action points. So if I remember correctly, I start off on this ramp, so if I really want to go down there, instead of burning all my movement points going down the stairs, I could maybe burn a couple of action points which I use for my shooting and laying down traps for up on this region, and then we just zip line down basically. Although this isn't what I want there. Let's find a better position and see if we can make this work. There we go. So for a whole whopping 5 action points, especially with my heavy gunner, if I activate her, I can save so much of my movement points and just burn a little bit of my action points to just traverse down to the lowest level, if I so wish. But we have a couple of turns to burn, so let's just lay the traps and get them all set up. Which I think we do here. Okay, I could sabotage this, but the highlight is for here, so I'm wondering, okay, this is where we lay our trap. It does damage, it puts a damage over time effect on them. We won't worry too much about that. Let's get this over quickly, and so we can get you to the real meat of the game. And since this is a saboteur, I think I also have the benefit of sabotaging this region, this little area here as well. I was hoping to get the option to sabotage it first, like I did before, but now we kind of double trap this region. Although at the same time, you can imagine, I'm not really going to be able to traverse there very well. And then otherwise, we could just spend a little bit of action points to kneel down. We have more traps if I so wish, so where else does it recommend traps? Down there, and if possible, maybe put an extra trap over here. So instead of, we'll prepare you for next turn to maybe jump down like I was originally demonstrating. And there's this yellow circle, which basically shows how far I can traverse with my remain movement. It is a question on how it functions with these kind of stairs. I don't know how to best explain here, but if I were to go down there, if I were in some form, would that actually refund my points in some form? But anyway, let's end our turn, try and get through everyone else's quickly, since apparently we have a whopping 4 turns. So I don't know who else would be a good saboteur. She was our main saboteur character, so I don't know who else is equipped. Well, we'll pick them regardless and at least get them in position. This one, our lay mechanic, is supposed to be more of a support character. She can actually repair sabotage components like that trap we did in our last turn. And I think that's where we start. That's what that arrow is supposed to signify. So what do we have with you? Do we have any traps? Ooh, we can build barricades, so. Pheromone canister, which I believe is a trap of some kind, maybe. Wall and radius. Okay, seems like it gives buffs of sorts, I think. There's a lot to take in and a lot of buffs to have to really consider. So what I think I'm going to do is try and position myself with barricades, so... And I'm going to stick to the high ground for that barricade. So what I understand is they're both going to be wanting to come down. Let's see, well, I'm going to try and find reinforcement points. Okay. So I'm probably going to want a barricade over somewhere in this corner. If there's not already one, then another one here for my long-range gunners. Now we just got to figure out where everyone is. Although we kind of already got barricades in a sense, so there's honestly not as much need for that. Outside, maybe blocking off the stairway a bit, since we already got this trap, so why not slow them down potentially even further. And let's see. Apparently I'm just not allowed to deploy. No target area effect. I'm wondering why it won't let... Okay.
Nice work. Use that cover.
So it provides cover, and best of all, it does slow them down a tiny bit, but not much. And I am wondering if I want this pheromone canister, but... Yeah, offensive targets get plus melee precision, and defensive target gets stress resistance. I'm trying to understand if this is supposed to help me, or if it's more of a debuff, if I'm so honest, but... Just for the sake of speeding along... Oh yeah, is that all? Oh. I guess I was too close to this green circle there. That's kind of like the engagement zone for melee combat, essentially. And that's as far as I can move, so we'll just end our turn, and once we go through everyone, what I'll probably do is just skip forward to the actual fight itself, once we have a discussion of all these characters. And as I kind of already hinted at, she's our main heavy gunner, and she's all about laying on the hurt, especially with this big las cannon. She even has a special ability called the Heavy Barrage, which I have yet to use, but it looks like it's meant to do a lot of damage at once. And this is, of course, as you can see, the amount of action points we need to utilize them. So a lot of the time, you're only going to be able to do one shot there, and then you'll have a couple left over for maybe faulting, maneuvering, or even crouching behind cover. And we also have a buff here. Was it Safeguard? I believe that makes it so anyone shooting at our gunner here or anyone nearby has to expend more action points to successfully shoot at them. Which I don't need to tell you how useful that might be for preventing them from taking defensive measures with the remaining action points. So with that said, we will just kneel, we'll cover the side, and just get everyone else in position. So we have Heavy Gunner over there. This is our main gunner and also our leader of the campaign, Tessera. So I believe she wants to be as high up as possible, because I believe you get cover bonuses, ideally. And if I remember correctly... Oh, it's because you're a leader, you also get all these buffs. Or all these buffs, but this is what I was looking for. She also has access to a grappling hook, so instead of spending all my movement points like I hinted at before, we can shortcut our way forward and get to the high ground. Where it's the right choice, I honestly couldn't tell you yet. But this actually is a pretty good vantage point because you can get both areas for when the fighting starts. I just might need another character nearby because, more than likely, they could probably do the same to me by jumping up here with a grappling hook. So, we're going to set Overwatch, and it's exactly as you think it is. It basically shoots at anyone that gets within reach. Although it looks like my Overwatch isn't going to cover over there, sadly. So I may want to position myself a little bit better for next turn. So that's your turn there. It does require you to hold down the button, so you at least to minimize the chance of you accidentally ending your turn. And without that, our last character here is kind of our brawler, our melee specialist, and she also has access to, what is it, Ambush, which is kind of a melee-based Overwatch. Although, all I can really think of how to get the most out of this is to be positioned in a way that they have to come towards her, in which case her ambush activates. Since from what I can tell, there is no stealth mechanic to try and conceal yourself into a proper ambush, as the name of the skill would suggest. And death from above is self-explanatory. You jump down and unleash hell on them. And what else do we have? just entrench, which is kind of like how my my action points can be used to not save some of my movement points. I can also entrench to build up extra action points for if I really want to keep shooting, or if I'm in a really good spot and I want to shoot and maybe overwatch or do some other actions. You have use for your movement points when you're already in a good spot. It's very expensive and probably not worthwhile trade, but it is additional options for you. Now, I think I like the idea of setting up an ambush, but I didn't see any other traps either on any of these characters, so I think it's pretty straightforward. We want you positioned in a way maybe you can dive down on them. Can you even jump on this pipe? I'm really curious about. It looks like the game mechanics doesn't account for jumping on pipes. And it doesn't look like I could jump down to that lower level either, so it's not as flawless as it seems, because it almost seems like I could zip line down. They have to be directly underneath me if I want to jump. And that's not even the jump I want to do either. So maybe that's too high of elevation if I had to guess. But I can jump down there. I want to find out. That looks like elevation I can get down on. It's just being stubborn. Maybe if I find an tactical option. Can I find it anywhere? No, I can't. Alright, so I thought maybe I could position myself properly, so instead what I might have you do is just protect the other angle. Really? It's kind of... the only spot I can really see is maybe I could jump down over where my commander's at, where Tessera's at. Because I don't want you down there ideally to just get shot at by everyone. If I could so help it. Oh yeah, Tessera's all above us right now, so... so you probably don't even need to be up here with that said. But at least there's an option for the jump down that helps protect her. So I think I like that potential. Because as you can see, I could traverse quite a bit of the map, especially when I'm in the middle of it. I'm just wondering if I could jump over here. Oh. That goes to show you how picky the jumping action can be, but I'm done talking about this mechanic for now, but this seems as good a position as any. She could strike from both sides. All we have... nope, never mind. I thought we have 4 turns. Now the real fun can begin. I think. Oh boy. There's 5 of them even. We got our work cut out for us, I guess. So I don't think I'm going to be able to lay more traps. Not easily, anyway. And these are our brutes. What is it, House Goliath? So they're all about resistance. They're all about taking the hits. They're more durable than my gals, which I believe is House Escher. And from what I could tell... actually, is there a way I can figure out what classes they are? Just to have a good sense. Okay, you're a gunner, so you have a grappling hook, because I recognize the icon. You're a saboteur. So it's this one I'm worried about, because he's more than likely going to be able to jump up top. So I kind of wish I had the ambush set up for that possible situation. Alright. So they have 2 bruisers, 2 melee guys, and 1 heavy gunner. So I think I'm most worried about him, just because he can flank me with the mobility that I kind of demonstrated. And I'm already in a good position to fight him. At least take some shots. So you're our target, you have 200 health. And same stats as me, pretty much. So we'll open up with Tessera, I think. And this is where the initiative comes into effect. Let's see, and okay, it's saying on the top right about my leader abilities, which I might not utilize yet. And field scan. I believe that gives me a buff for the next turn, especially if I have any reserve action points. But let's instead get to shooting. Actually, are you able to entrench? Yes, you can. So I can do a lot of potential shooting here. So I think what we'll do is we'll entrench, take 2 shots on this guy, and see if we can cripple him. Conservatively, I could also do an aim shot, which... Oh, that wasn't what I want, but... That was a mistake. I want to look at the aim shot there, so I'm surprised it entrenched me when I was looking at this. But I can choose to hit certain components, and I believe this will cause debuffs of certain kind. I just don't know what those debuffs entail. Either way, I'll still be able to do 2 shots, even though that was suboptimal. I just probably would have had extra action points. So pinned. I'm trying to figure out what that exactly that does. I know there was a button. I was able to access it before. I just can't remember for the life of me what was the key to open up the stats and everything. But we'll take our 2 shots there. There goes half your health. You're currently pinned, which I'm hoping just means you take additional, you spend more additional movement points. And conservatively, I can spend action points to just rapidly switch my weapons for when my weaponry don't cut it anymore. For example, if they get into melee range. But now it's their turn to move. You're pinned, so I want to believe you won't be able to do a whole lot. But the AI has been a bit questionable for me from my experience. I seen in the last mission, one of them basically grenade themselves for no reason at all. They were at full health, so it clearly wasn't like a grenade or something that they used to heal themselves. Ooh, that was a brutal hit. And let's see. You are pinned. You took some damage. So I think I want to maneuver you next. Because yeah, that was half your health gone in an instant. Especially with these heavy gunner guys over there. I suspect you can shoot. I don't know if these guys can actually reach, because I'm pretty certain they have pistols of some kind. And you're a saboteur. And sadly, my weapon here is a flamethrower of some kind, so I don't think I'm going to be able to do much damage, but I want to get you to safety still. And I have higher initiative than them, so I'll be able to act. And I kind of wonder if I want to put another trap here, since I don't think I'm going to have much of an opportunity to lay another trap elsewhere. It will take a bit of my action points, but like I already hinted at, there's not much I'm going to be able to do with my action points for this character, I feel like. So just cripple, homemade grenade, Overwatch, and that's just the flamethrower. Not a lot she could do, but maybe provide Overwatch and protection. And also probably sabotage some stuff. I would like to sabotage you, but that would hurt my own character, I believe. Never mind the fact I don't even think outside the grappling hook character, which we've already damaged, I don't think it could do much. And I think she's in a good position where she can jump down. Although I tried fighting with that earlier, so maybe this is not a good position for her. And I don't think... There are stim kits, and there are actually med bays around where I can actually heal too. So, can I find them somewhere? Alright, so these are control stations where I can sabotage and interact with, but I don't think we need to worry about these so much, because those aren't relevant. And I can't reach these sabotage points unless I want to put her at risk. Another control station which I probably could have sabotaged there, possibly. So you just play safe. Actually, I'm curious. I would love if I could somehow throw a trap down below, but it's not looking likely. Just kneel, protect yourself, and hopefully you don't die on us. Hopefully the traps alone will do enough. And what the heck are you gonna do? Okay, you have Inferno pistols, that's all I know, and this might be a bit of an example of the AI as I hinted at earlier. Since that seemed like a complete waste of a turn, especially for a short-range character who doesn't look like they can do much at a distance. So I think the name of the game is to try and focus on killing our gunner on the right and let these guys walk into the traps and everything. And I have higher initiative than their brute. So how do I get up? Okay. Normally it just says to hit F to be able to just stand up for free. And I can shoot and then move later, but I want to try and get a best vantage point because you can see, well, you're currently not visible. And no, I don't want a barrage yet, but can I hit you now? Nope, not visible. But you do have a little bit of convenience to be able to move around to try and get that perfect shot. Like, it was 83% before a moment ago, I think. 50% there. Yeah, you can see it adjusting as I'm moving. So if you really want to try and get that perfect shot, there are means. This is just not the most convenient. And 8% to hit there, wow. And I could jump down, but that also sounds like a terrible idea. There's our sweet spot. I have 60 action points, so you know what I'm going to do with those. One more hit should kill you. And you do get debuffed as you get reached down to half health and then like a third or a quarter of your health. So I could leave him be and he'll be heavily hindered. Again, not remembering how to check debuffs or what key that is. It's hard to tell you what those debuffs exactly are. And then with my remaining movement points, which I have 40 movement points, so I could kind of entrench and use it for other actions, which sadly I can't overwatch or do anything. Insufficient movement points, so I need to get back in the perfect spot if I want to use said movement points. So this is going to be a little bit tricky in this kind of circumstance, because I can't find the perfect spot. Not that I'll even need it anyway. And I think this is a good spot because without a doubt, our Goliath friends are going to try and run by, I think, along this pathway. So while she may not be able to crouch to obscure herself, she should be well protected. And there's the safeguard action I saw used earlier, which just makes the attacks more costly to aim at him and nearby allies. And apparently he's also the leader because I think he just threw a buff. But again, did absolutely nothing with your turn, so I'm hoping this AI is a little bit smarter because for the operations, like playing with your own gang, because otherwise then you have to rely on multiplayer, and with the customization options, and there's actually like a gang value, I believe, that's also a factor, where the more experienced and more developed your gang is, or the more resources you invest in them, the more gang points, or at least more infamy, or whatever the rate, whatever it's called there, it increases as you develop them. So for the sake of matchmaking and trying to have balanced matches, I could not tell you how a multiplayer match is going to play out. Either way, let's finish up with our lay mechanic, I believe is what they're called. We're still faster than them. Oh, you're Overwatch. Took a little bit of damage, but I think some of that was thankfully dealt with the cover, but sadly I cannot reach anyone from here. And she actually fires like buzzsaws from her little servo arm here, which I also think does like a bleed over time effect. But just like with our other girl, I would like to try and Overwatch down there. If I can actually see them. Hard to really say, but you are in the safeguard zone, so you're relatively safe. You can field repair. I think that's for the weapon jamming, because there is a jam mechanic, so I could actually fix her weapon, or at least cause it to unjam. And barricades I don't think I need, and I don't know about the pheromone canister. So she's ultimately a support character, as you kind of already may have guessed. And I can jump. Ooh, so worst case I can always jump down after him for future turns. So I am overwatched, we are crouched, we're protected. So we'll see if they actually do something. It's a bit of an underwhelming match so far. But finally, there's life to this adversary of ours. They're sadly going the wrong way, or away from the trap, which I guess is still a bonus for me, since that's burning so much of their movement if they don't have an easy way to get up. And there are zip lines, there are elevators, and other means to traverse the elevation. And of course get around the map with your action points too. This map is specifically designed though for me trying to lay traps and restrict where they can go. Because, oh my god, this pathway they're taking over here, it's still gonna have to force them to get to my barricade in the second trap. So, it's not really helping them all that much if I were to be honest. And sadly for our lady here, I'm kind of content to just leave you there. And they have the exact same initiative, so I wonder how this works. I was kind of hoping they would go first. And again, I could switch weaponry for a little bit of action points. No. I may have messed it up there. I want to equip... Oh, I dropped it by accident. Silly me, since I hit F. Alright. So, that's a pretty simple process, despite me taking a little bit longer than needed, but I don't think there's anyone she can actually shoot at. So where can we put her with that said? Because I'm not ready to jump down just yet. And trying to understand this 3 dimensions and of course the complication of the map can be a little bit tricky. But, oh, there's a little arrow to indicate where I'm going, so they're all over here. So what I probably will just do is jump down and join the rest of my colleagues. And if I can get a good kill zone going with all my overwatches and maybe shots afterwards, then that'll be pretty damn good. And I'm trying to remember where to... Okay, so we can actually shoot you. Perfect. I can also do a death from above, but I might be willing to do that next turn now that she's in a bit of a better position. But we'll soften him up, we'll shoot him in the ass, because I guess that's how he likes it, having to turn himself to me. And I think with my remaining action points, I can only switch to 1, which is fine. That's save some action points for next turn. So let's see what you guys do. Please don't disappoint. Only one of you is being smart right now. There, that's more like it. So what I'll probably do is lay another trap on the pathway. Well, there's only a single platform to really go through. So I don't think I'm worried too much. And that was him doing ambush, which all the more reason why I should not jump down there. And from what I can tell, everyone has higher initiative, so I'm willing to just blow the hell out of this one gunner right now. And I think Tessera's the girl for it. Even though my heavy gunner could...
Keep up the pressure, girls. Our contact won't wait forever.
Don't worry, we got that. I think I'm going to entrench and do a double shot. Let's see. Actually, I could do an aim shot with the entrench too, so let's just do a regular shot. Entrench. Yeah, and he's actually... I thought it was 40 movement points to do that. Or maybe that's a buff for her being a commander or higher skilled, because there is that little emblem that she's actually level 5 underneath her little icon for her class. So that might be where she's getting at. And then we'll do an aim shot to blow you the hell up. I don't know if a headshot's a good idea or not, if it does additional damage, but let's do it for the fun of it. No additional damage. And I'm currently out of ammo, so next turn I'm going to need to reload. Now, my friend, are you going to continue to indulge us? Uh-oh. Well, if nothing else, I think this is a great indication that my barricade is working wonders, because that may be what's bugging him out right now. But it does make me worry for the enjoyment of this game if this is how the AI is going to behave. So, I think we've seen enough that's needed to, sadly. Actually, I think for the fun of it, let's do our Death from Above. Just to give you something different to look at before I talk about the character customization, making your own gangs, and the possibility that that has, which I believe is probably the main meat of this game, since it seems like the campaign is more of a tutorial and to give you some cinematics and lore to this world. Since, like I said before, I've been completely oblivious to Necromunda and the fact that this kind of world existed in 40k. Keep in mind, this is a Warhammer 40k game, and while the structure, the architecture, and definitely some of the symbols you see, like Mechanicus, I'm trying to think what they would call, dang it, but you will definitely recognize a lot of the Imperium structures around here. It's a lot of a different. It's completely different than your usual Space Marines, your Xenos, your Eldari, and of course definitely Chaos. None of them are here. This is strictly gang wars with each other inside a single great Hive world, which is Necromunda. So, with that said, I'm not going to jump just yet, because who is going to be our lucky victim? Even though it's probably a terrible idea, I'm going to do it anyway. We have Death from Above. Oh, it's actually going to hit both of them, I think, which is going to be really nice if that's the case. So let's end off this current mission in style, shall we? Well, stunned them, which I believe also turned off their ambush, because I think one of them at least was ambushing. And of course, with my entrench ability, I can get my action points built up and maybe do another attack. Yeah, I'm not close enough is what's going on, so let me just entrench first. And then just go to town with this poor bastard. 30 action points. He's likely going to survive, but this is kind of what she's built for. Let's see how much damage we do. So that was good 70-ish damage. Her trait kicked in for being a member of Clan Eshin, is it? Where all their melee attacks have like a poison effect to them. So he's officially slowed. So if this was like a gunner or someone who doesn't want to get melee, he'll have a much harder time trying to get away. And speaking of getting away, recharge weapon. Okay, it's because it's a battery-powered weapon. It's a chain sword. But there is an action you can take to disengage, because otherwise, neither of us can move until we disengage, but I believe... there it is. No, that's charge. Where's the disengage? Maybe it's because I initiate this turn I can't disengage, but there is an action that allows you to disengage so you can move away. And probably part of that toxin effect, toxin specialist we just saw. That's a lot more expensive. Never mind the fact it's supposed to slow him down. So now our poor girl is going to get killed, or at least at risk of dying. And I think that's basically all we need to see here, since the AI is kind of being a little underwhelming. There's the Mechanicus machinery I've been referring to. But hopefully things pick up a bit. For all I know, it could be a pathing bug just because of where I placed my barricades. It could have been too well positioned. But like I hinted at multiple times, there is like a gang mechanic where you can build your own custom gang, build them up, make them your own, and even have a great deal of customization. Clan House Escher, which I talked about, it even shows their buffs up there. They're all about support consumables, so you can heal and use like items a lot more efficiently. I don't know what they cost initially. I'm assuming it's like 20 action points, maybe 25. And as you can see there, it can poison an enemy with melee attacks. Yeah, you can see all the stats and everything right there. Increases the cost of all their offensive melee abilities. It stacks, so it can get even more worse if you can have multiple attacks in or multiple characters jump on the same guy. And there's also additional bonus stats there, which help towards their playstyle ideally, but we'll talk about that in a moment. The House Goliath, which were the guys we were encountering, they're more brutes. They get bonuses for more enemies being near them. And all that good stuff. They also like to be in close. Whereas House Escher, kind of a little more tricksy and a little more agile in that sense, especially with the bonus stats. And House Orlok are kind of more like range specialists. You saw my Overwatch being basically about 30, 25 action points, I believe. Well, the Overwatch for them is greatly decreased if they can get a single shot off. If they follow up with an Overwatch after shooting, like a third the action points is reduced, and even disengaging is cheaper for them, so they're kind of more the range specialists, and they're kind of meant to fight at a distance. With some traits that kind of help accommodate that, and of course maybe enable more of their specialists or like saboteurs to help protect them perhaps. So we will just build our gang here. They have a starter gang which starts you off with 3 random people, but you, without a doubt, you probably want to start off with mainly get a custom gang going once you have a good grasp on what you want in a team. And I believe you can have at max at most 5 gang members, but let's see. Skirmish, I believe, is the multiplayer mode, and you can actually see how many people are currently online. I don't think they're doing multiplayer specifically, so it's still hit or miss if you're going to get a match quickly or not. But we have, I don't want to do 1v1, sorry. But 1v1, 2v2, oh, it even shows who's in queue currently, I think, so even more indication if you're going to get a quick match or not. But otherwise, crew management. This is where you assemble your team, and actually you can have some reserve squads as well, I think, for if this team is too wounded and you have enough credits and resources to kind of afford multiple squads. But yeah, up here, the skier icon is, I believe, your like gang value or how expensive your team is for the purposes of matching up like an AI encounter as kind of competitive to it, or what kind of difficult missions you can do. For when I just randomly buy a brand new character, which I'm going to do here, these are the credits here on the top right. That will inflate our points here. And even when you buy a new recruit there, you can actually just immediately level them up. You can rank them up and just get more value out of them right away, provided you have the cost for them, because as you can see, the cost is going to increase. But there's a lot of customization, I believe, to them. It's hard to tell with this face mask. And a lot of different traits to keep in mind, which are definitely going to be required for the certain roles or certain playstyles you have here. I'm not going to go into too much about that because there are other traits to keep in mind, which I think we can actually, yeah, we can even build a basic trait and actually changes her shape and look a little bit, on top of giving her certain bonuses. Well, at least for the athletic trait, it seems like mental traits are not as visible, at least. But I think, again, that's where the main meat of it is. This is our leader here. He's level 5. He's required to have at least one level 5 character, I believe, if you're going to have a leader at least. And everyone else is just new blood here. It even shows what the individual cost of all of them is. So, it remains to be seen. I would like to play some multiplayer of this game here, but from what I could tell there, I don't know what kind of longevity we're going to have even with the multiplayer, possibly. But I look forward to trying a couple more videos down the road with this game. Thank you everyone for watching. I will see you next time.